Hey, let's have a conversation. Good evening, everybody. This is colleague Chris. Apostle Chris, want to come in and share with you some thoughts. How's everybody doing tonight? Um, do me a favor. I want you to hit that like button, hit that share button, and come on in. Grown men are talking. Grown men are talking, and so um, I'm going to talk a little bit about this subject. I want you to do me a favor. I'm on all platforms. I'm on uh, YouTube, Facebook. I'm on both my pages, Kali Chris, Kali W. Chris the Third, and also I'm on Kali Chris. I am Kali Chris. I am Kali William Chris the Third. I am my father's son. God bless him. Uh, there is it's challenging today to be a man, and a lot of our young men are not clear on a few things. And so tonight I want to spend some time talking about um, the challenges of being a man under certain levels of pressure. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes to get in here because I do want to have some level of interaction. And I think that we need to have these discussions about what real grown men do. There's a part of how the men we grew up with, the character, the culture has been manipulated, changed, but we have to try to speak to how to fix this. So I want y'all to do me a favor, share this. Come on. Uh I don't know where everybody is, but I want to get us in talking about this tonight. I mean, there's many things that have been lost, right? Chivalry, the opening of the door for a woman, the closing of the door for a woman, um, men taking care of their wives and providing. When I was growing up, my responsibility was to throw out the garbage. And so I would at a stage in my life we had what is called incinerators. So at the end of the hall, you would take the garbage and shove it into a hole. It go down to a chute, and that um, at the bottom of that chute there was a incinerator, and they would put the garbage in, and eventually they would burn it. They got rid of that, and then before long, we had to go outside to the dumpster and throw out the garbage. When mom come home with groceries, I would go out and get the groceries to bring them in the house. You always had to have a job, and anything that you wanted, you had to work for. And so that's all I've ever known. That's all we've ever done is that we had jobs. I would have my first real work experience was with my uncles and my dad. I would work in my father's garage. I would sweep up, I would clean. He taught me how to do body work when I got a little older, how to run, how to do certain things. But I had to learn the trade. I would go to work with my uncles. I want y'all to share this now. Go share this. It's going to be really good for you, especially you young ladies who are raising up sons and raising up, and challenged with your relationships. You want this talk tonight. This is my grown men are talking. I'm going to build a podcast on this. Grown men are talking. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be very powerful, because I think what's going to happen is that in our discussions and our talks, we're going to really give you information and how insight and how to build character, how to govern yourselves, how to set a vision for your family, how to provide for your family, the mindset, how to be a man in the family, what be able to grapple with the things that you contend with. So this talk is grown men are talking. So anyway, I grew up working. I grew up understanding that I had to have a job. So of course I had jobs with my uncles. All my uncles worked. My dad worked. So we would I learned how to cut grass and rake leaves, and so that was what we did. That's what we had to do. And you get, $2 an hour, $4 an hour at the time. And then I worked with my Uncle Joe in the summertime. So I always had a job. And I was of age. When I became of age, I would work with I had a paper route, and then did that for a few years. And then, but all along there was always these jobs, always had, jobs that I had to do, making money. Because again, if you want anything, you had to work for it. If you want a new pair of sneakers, if you wanted a bike, if you wanted anything, you had to work for it. That was the understanding. My mother was not rich. She was single mom raising four children. And of course, that was the mandate. We had to work. So I always worked. And then I started working odd them jobs. I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Burger King, I worked at Wendy's. I mean, I ran the gamut. I worked at Pergamont's, I worked at Finest. So I always had a job. So in having a job, you learn how to work with your hands. You learn how to uh, work with other people. You got money, you got checks. You would go and cash your check. You would. So this is how we were raised. I was raised to always have a job, always work. The sad thing is that a lot of our young men today don't have jobs. We don't make them work. We we're always constantly buying them things. We have a bad tendency to reward bad behavior. Now, one of the reasons why that's the case is because a lot of our young men are raised by single mothers and raised by women. And sometimes when you're raised by women alone, you tend to get away with things, especially if they're not having a hard time. And and I want to say this to some of our women. Some of the reasons why you do spoil your boys because you have a sense of guilt. You feel like it's their fault, your fault, that they don't have a man in their life, and you need to compensate or overcompensate for making their life easier. But that's not what you want to do. You don't want to try to do that for them, because it's going to ruin them. And it's very important that you constantly put the pressure on them to get jobs and to get jobs. Because listen, you want to build the characteristic of a work ethic, because that is what they're going to need to succeed in this world, especially men. Now, I know our topic tonight is grown men don't do 50-50, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that is. But the reality is that grown men don't do 50-50. So let me tell you a little bit more about where I'm going with this. So as I was growing up as a young man in the projects of New York, and always had to have jobs, and I wasn't one to steal, wasn't one to take. And so anything I wanted, I had to work for. I had my car at 16. In fact, my father made me buy my first car, and he owned it. It was I bought it from him. I never forget. It was a beautiful Monte Carlo, white 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 Monte Carlo with a black vinyl top. It was a beautiful car. It had Krager wheels, mag wheels on it. Loved that car. It's a 350 engine motor on it. Fantastic car, beautiful car. He made me buy it, and I had to work for it. Uh, and I had to buy it from him, and he wouldn't. He held it for a certain amount of time for me to come up with the money, and he sold it to me for $700. He said, "Listen, you want to buy this car? You're going to have to work for it. You have to get the money up, and you have to give it to me." And I did. I gave it to him, and he didn't give it back to me. And he said, "Because if I give it to you, you're not going to take care of it." And let me tell you something. When I bought that car, I washed that car every weekend. I washed that car. I would wash it, wax it every weekend. I would wash that car. I took care of that car. And and so that's how it was. If I wanted new clothes for the summer, for the school year, I had to work for it. If I was taking a girl out to the movies or to anything, I paid for it. I had to pay my own insurance. I had to pay to get the car fixed. I had to pay for the gas and the tune-up. I learned how to do my own tune-ups. Um, so that's how I was raised. I was raised to learn how to work with my hands and how to work consistently, be on time for a job. So I've always had jobs. I've always worked. Ever since I was a little boy, I worked. Always had a job. And all through elementary, all through junior high, high school, always worked, always had a job. And then so when I became a man, knowing that that was always what you were responsible for. I need y'all to hit like. I need you to share. I need you to hit like. I need you to share. This is important. This is extremely important. Tonight, I'm talking. Grown men are talking. Grown men are talking. Get your boys on here. Get your young men on here. Get your teenager boys on here. Get your young men about to go to college on here. Why? Because they're going to have to learn some things, and we got to teach them. So when I went to college, my first year in college, uh, while on campus, I got a job. I worked for the dorm. I was a dorm rep, so I always worked. I always looked for a job. So I don't quite know where this came from, to be honest with you. I have to believe that it's something that God gave me, but I've and again, it was almost intuitive. And so when I got married, yes, oh, we both worked, and but I really didn't think about the money that she was making. It wasn't like part of the calculation for the apartment. In fact, before I got married, I had already had the apartment. We were getting ready to get married. I'd already signed the lease, got the apartment set up already. Um, so before we got married, we had a place to go. Okay. And that's what I did. In fact, I never forget this. I remember having the apartment, and we hadn't gotten married yet, and uh, I was able to move in. Our apartment's already set. And so my mother says to me, it's just funny too. And I didn't really, I never forget this. She said to me, she said, "So you got the apartment, right?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I got the apartment." She said, "Why don't you go live up there? Why you got, apartment's empty? Why you still here?" I was like, "Well, we're not, you know, we didn't get married yet. I mean, I'm still waiting." She said, "No." She said, "No, pack your stuff." And this was now I was I was in Portchester, and the apartment was way up in Milford. And she was like, "No, go ahead up. It's time for you to go. You got the apartment, time to go." And and I felt some kind of way, but that she was right. I had a car, and so I did, and I had the apartment before. And this is what grown men do. Grown men make sure they have a place for their wives to go. And again, one of the reasons I'm finding that a lot of men don't have this mindset is because many of our young men are raised by women who are either feeling guilty because they don't have a man in their life, overcompensating, over nurturing, and not preparing them for the real world. And so what happens is that when you, and I'm not blaming you, I'm just telling you that the mindset's off. And if you don't instill them to work and to get their own and to give them a sense of significance and a sense of accomplishment, they're always going to be dependent. They're always going to be an invalid. They're always going to be someone who is counting on someone to take care of them or help take care of them. So let me tell you. So the reality is that when men know who they are, uh, they calculate everything they are going to need for their family. And a real man, a grown man, will take on 2 or 3 jobs to make sure. I did that for many years. I would have 2 jobs and very demanding jobs. Why? Because it was my responsibility to take care of my family. And when you think this way, you don't have a problem with it. In fact, grown men, real men, solid men, whole men, men that know who they are. There's a certain level of pride, there's a certain level of dignity, there's a certain level of confidence that you have because you take care of your family. Grown men don't do 50-50. And that's just how that go. Um, yeah, we living in a time now when it's like, okay, what we're gonna do is together. You gonna have your money, I have my money. I'm gonna help you. But no, grown men don't do that. Grown men count the costs and find a way to make things work. And the reason why I said grown men don't do 50-50 is because in a real balanced structure, one that is conducive to success in a home, vision, family, a family that's healthy, you need that healthy balance. You need someone who's going to manage and hold down the home front, and then you need someone who to bring the resources into that home to manage that home front. And in that capacity, if both parties are in their full capacity, then the home is healthy, it's conditioned, it's conducive for rest, relaxation, nurturing, peace, uh restoration, because you're going to need that when you go back out to the world, brother, to handle and to fight and to war and to win all that you're confronted with in the world. And so if your wife is working, and this is what I'm talking about, real grown men don't do 50-50. If your wife is working, and I'm speaking also as relates to having children in the home. If you have children in the home, now if you're both, listen, if you're both, no children, your nest is empty and you're doing your thing and you want to have a job, that's fine. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't work. What I'm saying is it shouldn't be a requirement. I don't need your money to live. I don't need your money to take care of my family. I don't need your money to pay these bills. I don't, if you stop working today, it doesn't change anything as it relates to what's going on at this house because this is my responsibility. Let me tell you something. Your wife, brothers, this is how you listen, and you can get mad. I know a lot of little millennials don't think this way. And this is what's, I believe, one of the problems we're having in our communities. Um, when your wife is in a position where she chooses to work. Now, again, that's something that you and your wife needs to work through, and I understand it and respect it totally. But what I'm talking about is you have to do 50-50. We agree to do 50-50. I want to do 50-50. I want you. So what's your check? No, 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 no. No, no. Are you doing 50-50 at home too? Because that's still part of that. Like, are you really taking care? Are you doing 50-50 in the house? Are you taking care of the baby? Are you getting up? Are you washing clothes? Are you doing dishes? Are you doing that? Because if you're doing that, and that's what you want to do. So when you get off work, you come home, you have laundry day, you have dishwash day, you have days you cook, you have days you vacuum and sweep and all things that happen in the house. And if that's how y'all are getting down, right? If that's how y'all getting down, then that's something y'all work out. But the reality is grown men don't do that. Now, my wife would tell you, I don't have a problem with cooking, cleaning, any of that kind of stuff. right? And there's a lot of things I share with my wife, and I showed my wife how to do certain things. But the reality is, I don't count my wife's money. My wife, she works because she wants to work. She likes to work, and she don't work a full-time job. And it's never been an issue for us. Why? Because grown men don't do 50-50. I don't count my expenses. When we get ready to buy a new home, I'm not looking for her money. I'm not looking for what she can contribute to that. I'm not looking for her to help pay the mortgage, or if we even have a mortgage. I intend on buying that cash. So, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset that we must infuse into our men, because this what happens. Let me tell you what happens, my brother. When you live that way, when you take on the mindset that you're going to take care of your family and you're going to provide for your family and you're going to hold your family down, there is something that happens in you. There's something that happens in you because of the way you're made, the way you've been designed, and you are forfeiting a tremendous amount of a favor and benefit, and you're depriving your family of all that it can have when you walk into a marriage or situation and you intend on doing 50-50, because God requires a man to take care of his family. The Bible says that if a man who doesn't take care of his household, provide for his family, he's worse than the infidel. Translation, worse than the unbeliever. So there's a certain level of favor that comes on you when you are walking in that responsibility. God opens doors for you. You get increase as long as you're walking up right before the Lord, and you're doing what you're supposed to do. There's certain things that happen for you when you take on that mindset. And God will always put you in a position to provide for your family. And it's important. Now, again, there's seasons and times you're gonna have to budget. You have to budget, you gotta be frugal, you gotta be wise, you gotta be a good steward, you gotta manage with your resources and what you have well. But the truth of the matter is that once you understand that you are the provider, the man, you don't do 50-50. I don't expect my wife to pay for any dinners we go out to. When I go, unless she's doing something for my birthday, and even then I feel funny. I feel funny. I feel funny. It's hard. It's hard for her. It's hard for wait, sorry. It's hard for me. And I make it hard for her to buy, and I can't stand it. It's almost, hey, listen, let me tell you something. And it's craziest thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but when it's time for dinner and the check come, I always feel some kind of way. I always feel some kind of way. I can't just take that. It's not easy, because grown men don't do 50-50. Grown men don't do Dutch. Grown men, I've never in my entire life have asked a woman out to dinner and then expect her to pay half of it. Even if just friends, I can't do that. And you got to remember this now. You got to remember this. The man is the stronger vessel, and that is not just because God just didn't have nothing better to do. He designed us to work and to take care of our families. So grown men don't do 50-50. We don't think that way. So when all you young ladies or you modern young girls out here getting your job, and you getting the bag, and you getting your career, you getting your degrees, and you getting all your bachelors and your masters and your doctorates, and you want to bring something to the table, and you want to make sure that you can help, and da da da, and you got your own. Let me help you. Let me help you. Okay. Uh we don't care about that. W- We're grateful that you got a job or you got your career and whatever. We're glad that you are ambitious and you have a sense of accomplishment. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter to us. And when I my listen, it don't matter to us. Not for the sense, not for the purposes you think it is. We don't. We're listen. Yeah. Hey, power to you, but that's not how we think. And this whole notion that men are intimidated by women who are accomplished, that's a bunch of nonsense too. The problem is And let me help you. The problem is not that your accomplishment bothers a man. The problem is how you feel about your accomplishments. A lot of times what happens, and this is the sad thing, is that you think your accomplishments gives you the same authority as the men in the family. Like you think, well, I make as much money as you, therefore, I got as much say. But that's not how. I mean, we're not fighting on who's got the more say. The reality is there's a certain order of things. And just because you making, two or three thousand, $100,000 more, or the potential to make more, it doesn't make you the authority. And I know you want to believe that. I know that really does something for you. And I know you want that independence. I know you want that strength, and you want to be able to say rah rah. But let me help you. Your greatest asset, or your greatest value to a man is your femininity. Is who you are, your elegance, your beauty, your shape, your soft voice. He don't want nobody as strong as him. Who wants that? So I'm trying to explain to you this. Although it's great that you go after what you go after, you got your degrees, you got your social worker degrees, you got your psychology degrees, you got your all those wonderful degrees that you think are wonderful, and somehow in your mind put you in a certain level of status with a real man. A grown man is like, I don't care about that. A grown man. Now you get these boys out here. I ain't talking about them. I ain't talking about. I'm talking about grown men. Grown men are talking. We're talking. The boys want you to do that because they want to sit on the couch and not do nothing. They want to make sure somebody's carrying the weight with them, because a lot of our young men are raised by women who did everything for them. I mean, when I was a teenager, we washed clothes, we had to wash dishes, we had to cook, we had to clean our rooms. Nobody did anything for us. So I'm talking to grown men today. I'm talking about grown men. If you want a real grown man, I'm talking about a real grown man who knows who he is, who's not intimidated by who's not don't really care about how much money you got and what you bring into the table. In fact, a real grown man just wants you to show up to the table. And what are you talking about? Well, you woman. That's what he want. You don't want your check. You don't want the bag. You want you. All right. And listen. Let me tell you something. And I find this challenging with a lot of women who are in authority. I had a pastor. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna share this with you. This is my first example I saw that I was really blessed by. So Pastor Annie Mae Kersey, who's she's one of my most favorite mentors. And I mean, she ranks probably the highest, the best mentor I've ever had. And she was a pastor, very accomplished, had master's doctorates in theology, and she was very accomplished, very brilliant scholar, woman of God. Taught me how to chase God and look at scripture. Really kind of fed my hunger for the things of God. And so, but the interesting thing was her husband was not saved in the church. He definitely wasn't in the church, but although she had a lot of authority outside the house, although she was very powerful, very ranked, um, at home, she was submissive to her husband. At home, she valued him as her head. Now he was laid back. He was laid back guy and really didn't do a whole lot, but she was submissive to him. She was a woman of authority, a woman of power, but at home, she was submissive. See, grown men understand that, and women who understand what the value of having a grown man, a solid man in your life, they can respect that. They can deal with that. They can submit to that because they understand something that a lot of our younger girls today don't understand. See, when you put yourself the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And Job said this. He says, what I fear the most have come upon me. A lot of you that are out here trying to do the 50-50 thing because you don't want no man to control you or tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and all that stuff. You know what you're doing? You're doing it because you're afraid something's going to happen. And inevitably, what happens is that what you're afraid to happen happens, because what you feared comes upon you. Because now you project a mindset that attracts that type of arrogance and masculinity that repels grown solid men. And so when you have an opportunity to have a grown man and you start telling him what you are not going to do, what you ain't going to do, all that. Now, you can have a discussion about what you're comfortable with and what you accept and what you don't accept and all those good things. And that's important. But when you start telling a grown man, a solid, when I say grown man, I'm talking about someone who knows who he is. He got his bills together. He's got his life together. He's got his heart together. He knows where he's going. He has a vision. He knows what kind of woman he wants. He knows who he's going to put up with. He knows what he is going to put up with. That's what I'm talking about. And sometimes when we get involved with men who do a whole lot of dreaming and not a whole lot of planning, that's not a man, that's a boy. You need to know when you let me tell you what a grown man looks like, what he talks like. He talks like this. A grown man says, listen, this is where I'm going. And in 5 years, this is where I want to be. And this is how I'm going to get here. And this is the role that the woman that I chose is going to play in this vision. See, he's clear. He's clear about who he is and what he's doing and where he's going. He's clear, he's precise, he's precision. He can tell you where he's going. He can tell you what he needs you to do. And in that instance, he can tell you based on what you bring in terms of your mannerisms, your characteristic, in terms of how you carry yourself and how you talk and how you look and how you feel about that. He's going to know, because he understands that he can't trust you in certain circles. A solid, real grown man is going to be careful with bringing you around if you were some kind of jump off. If you don't really know, you talk too much. You always got something to say, right? You always button in, always loud talking. And then I'm not saying you don't have a voice. I'm saying that you have to know when to talk, when not to talk. You have to know how to move in certain circles. You have to know what your role is. Your focus is him or your focus is on you. You can't compete in that marketplace together. This is what I'm talking about. A grown man understands these things. Grown man knows how he's going to get where he's going. And you may not understand it. You may not even see it coming. But God starts opening doors for that man, because that man has a vision. He has a plan. He knows his God. He understands what he wants for his wife, what he wants for his children. That's a grown man. Grown men don't do 50-50. Grown man ain't looking for your money. Grown man ain't impressed with your degrees and what you did and what you doing. He ain't impressed. He'll celebrate you, guy, but he ain't impressed with that. He ain't intimidated by it either. I know y'all, he's intimidated. He ain't intimidated by it either. Not no grown man. He's here. Listen, you could whatever. And the reason why a lot of our young women are not finding good men is because you put a lot of stock in what you did, and your masculinity spirit is repelling them like off to a mosquito, to a gnat. And I know that you don't like this, but this is what it is. See, let me help you. Men have not changed. We still need the same things that I still need the same things that my father needed, my grandfather needed, my great grandfather needed, my great 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 grandfather needed. We still need the same stuff. A lot of the women changed. I don't need that, but you do need it. I don't need a man. Now you're saying, wait, I need a man. Why? Because men are doing a whole lot of things. They're going overseas. They're getting women who are submissive. They get women who are kind. They're getting women who are gracious. They get women who learn, who understand how the focus is her husband. I was talking to a brother of mine not long ago, and he was telling me about all the things he's the type of women he's running into in the open singles space. And I'm saying to him, he said, "Man, they ain't out there, man. These girls are this and that, da 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 da. They always want this, they want it for the bag, blah blah blah." I said, "I got it." I said, "But that's interesting, man, because my wife's not like that." And he said, "Well, man, you got one of the last ones." The problem is that our women, our mothers are not teaching these young girls how to be a wife. They're teaching them how to compete, and that's the mistake. And again, we don't really need you to cook clean. I know that's one of those things you got. It's good to know, and we want you to know, but we don't need you for that. We don't need you to cook clean and all the domestic things that women tell me. Oh man, yeah, we like it's nice if you can cook and clean and keep the house, and that's gracious. We like that. I mean, but it's not necessary. We don't need you for it. Now we don't want no one who don't can't keep a clean house either. We want a woman who knows how to talk to us. See, your value, your 50% that you think that we're talking about bills, we don't that don't do nothing for us. If you know how to empower us, if you know how to minister to us, if you know how to treat us, we'll quadruple your percentage that you can get going out to the marketplace. Because a real man ain't gonna just sit and let no woman talk to me in kind of way. It ain't gonna happen. Now you got these betas, you got these men who are I don't know what they call them, what sips, simps, whatever they call 'em. I don't know what that means, but I've heard it out there. But they ain't, a real man ain't going for that. And let me tell you, listen. I want to say this to some of you young ladies out here who have children from someone else, and you're in a single space now. I'm gonna help you. Let me help you. Now, yeah, there is a shortage, right? You got some places they're 15 to 1, 20 to 1. And those statistics are out there, and I understand what that means. But the truth of the matter is, it is very possible that there could be somebody for you. What I find is this: the one who has a better understanding of their purpose, the person who has a better understanding of their purpose, of their value, of their ability to connect with someone. If you position yourself, and I'm talking to some of you ladies out here, listen to me. If you put yourself in a position where you are willing to tap into a vision and commit to become the helpmeet to a man's vision, and you align yourself, you posture yourself for that, then God will bring that man to you, because God has things that he wants done in the earth, and he needs a man to do it, but he needs a woman to walk with that man to get it done. And God somehow will orchestrate that opportunity. Now there are physical aesthetics, and I understand people talk about that. He's looking for this, he's visual and all that good stuff. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna talk to you straight today. Now, this is a grown man talking. Now, if let's say a brother is a butt man, can we talk? Can we talk? Yeah, we can talk. He's a butt man. He likes butts, big butts. All right, let's because we're visual. Now we're grown folk. He likes butts. Now he sees a woman. He got 5, 10 women. Right, he got 10 women, and 5 of these women have the shape he wants, but the 5 that have the shape he wants, they all have bad attitudes. None of them know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. They're trifling. They're mouthy. But the other 5, or 2 in the other 5 number, they don't have the rear ends, but they have a sweet disposition. They're kind. They're submissive. They are compliant. They're easy to get along with. They're not bitter. They're not resentful. He's more apt. They know how. Then out of those, he's looking for the one that knows how to talk to him, how to how to ignite will and drive and ambition in him. She's funny. She makes him. She moves him. She has a wonderful disposition. Her kids are are honorable. They're not rambunctious. Now, grown men is not intimidated by the fathers. Now, I know that's a issue. I know that's an issue for a lot of our men today. You got to deal with the baby daddy and all that stuff. But she's already got her stuff lined up because she's solid now. She told the dude, they got an understanding, and she knows exactly how to manage that situation so that it doesn't cause you to have to be coming out here carrying on. She's already solidified it. This is over. Ain't nothing there. And that has not something that just happened abruptly. That's really what it is. Like, he ain't coming over hitting, I'm talking straight to y'all now. He ain't coming over hitting on every now and again. No, that is over. That's ice cold. Ain't nothing happening there. And she's already established it. Now he's not gonna have a problem with that situation. Now, if he can, if the young boy or the young girl is respectful, and he has a certain level of authority and honor and so forth, yeah. Now, yeah, he can chastise them. He can chastise her and tell them they can't do this, they can't do that, and there's no bucking, there's no fighting. Yeah, a grown man ain't intimidated by that. So what I'm saying to you is this: with all the things that you're dealing with all the things that you are hearing in the open space, single space, you have children, nobody wants you. That's not true. My wife has 3 sons. I have 3 daughters. Now, so happens that one of her sons was young. When I first met her, he was 8. And I knew what that mean. What that didn't mean anything at the time, because it was nothing was going to happen in my mind. But then the more I got to know her, the more we got to talking, the more I found that we were connected. There was this real spiritual connection. There was a intellectual connection. There was we had fun together. We enjoyed each other's company and conversation. And so after all that happened, all that talking, her having a son, 8, 9 years old, wasn't as a big a deal, because now the woman that I was embracing in my life had more value in my mind, that it didn't really matter if I was going to help raise our son, because a grown man is not really intimidated by paying for his household. He's not worried about that. I'm talking about grown men now. So I know you say, well, pastors, men, yeah, there are good men out here who will step in and father your children and love them and support them. I take care of my son like he's mine. And I don't even have any gripes with that whatsoever. And I ain't looking for nothing else from anybody to help take care of my son. I don't ask for nothing. I ain't looking for nothing. I'm from nobody, because grown men take care of their family and they don't make excuses for not taking care of their family. I don't care what comes in on outside of that. If it does or don't, it don't matter to me, because that's not how I get down. Grown men take care of their family. So now what I found, and again, a lot of you brothers out here are talking. I'm talking grown men now. A lot of you brothers out here talking about, well, I don't want to room with kids and I don't want to be dealing with that, man. Run. Listen, brother, let me tell you something. If you're a solid man and you know who you are, you can handle that. If you really can, you can handle that. You ain't intimidated by no man. As long as that woman that you are committing yourself to understands who you are, respects you as a man, understands that you are who you are, and know that you can hold your own, and you ain't gonna let nobody run your house. As long as she's with you on that, and y'all have an understanding, man, don't let that bother you. Don't let nobody call you some simp. I wish it would. I'm grown, man. I don't play them games. I'm intimidated, but that woman to me is more valuable than I'll raise this young man like he's my own. And let me tell you something else too. It takes a village to raise a family. More men should kick in and help with these young boys. So that don't bother me. That ain't nothing. My wife is worth that and more. What she brings to me is important, and that's listen. This is my family, and that's how I see it. Grown men see it that way. So I want y'all to understand, that's how we live. So you got somebody in your life talking about, well, I don't know about what about the father? I don't want to deal with that. Man, you listen, you call them cats who pick up the extra weight, a beta or a simp, weak. I call you weak if you can't be man enough to handle that. That's what I'm talking about. You ain't man enough to handle that. You see a great woman who can add value and worth and success to your life. And because she has a couple of kids, and you feel like, well, I can't, man, don't you're weak, my brother. Grown men don't run from that. Grown men step up. Grown men says, you know what? This woman is solid. She gonna bless my life. I'll deal with that, whatever. Because I know that what she brings to me is much more valuable than what you think, that whatever you think about me as it relates to me taking care of my family. And some of you jokers got the nerve to talk because some of you cats ain't even taking care of the family that you made. I'm talking about the one that came out of you, brother. So here it is, you talking junk about the brother who's picking up the slack, like as if he's weak, but you ain't even taking care of yours. So you can't talk. Grown men don't even think that way. Grown men don't even act like that. Grown men ain't even worried about that. I know Kevin Samuels told y'all all this stuff about, what men want. Man, solid man, he knows who he is. He holds his own. He handles his business. And he ain't living his life based on what other people think about him. He knows what he wants. And when he gets what he wants, he's walking with it. Oh man, you got her spending your money. Man, whatever. That's my wife. That's my son. That's my family. This is how we do it. And what I do is none of your business. You ain't paying not a bill in here. You ain't doing nothing for me. You can't never did nothing for me. So why do I care what you think? See, this is how grown men talk. Grown men don't have those weak conversations about how you managing your home. And you will let them jokers disturb your peace. And here you got a beautiful woman, voluptuous, kind, loves you, looks to you, trusts you, walk with you through fire, and you gonna run and hide because what somebody might think about you raising somebody else's child, man. How weak is that? No, grown men don't act like that. Grown men hold their own. Grown men hooks up with the woman that he knows is going to bring strength, success. My wife is I've lived better since my wife been in my life. She keeps up with my doctor stuff. She makes sure that I eat right. She makes sure I have peace in the home. She brings more value to me than I can ever imagine without her. You think I'm gonna forfeit that? Why? And I got a great son. My son that lives with us, I got three great sons. I got three beautiful daughters. I got grandchildren. I mean, I'm in my bliss. And this conference we just came out of, man, I see my wife tap, she actually stepped into a role I've never seen her in. It's our first time doing a major event together. And let me tell you something, man. My wife was a number one, man. She was, man, ride or die. That woman walk with me through it all. And then when it got tough, she was the one ministering to me. I remember we was going and she knew something was on my heart. She began to tell me, baby, you doing this thing. You got it. Don't you worry about it. You're doing an awesome job. I'm so glad to be here with you. She knew what to say to me. She knew how to move me. She knew how to build me up. I'm glad to be here with you. I'm learning a lot. I'm growing in this. I see you moving. I see how you doing it. Wow. She's impressed. She's beginning to minister that to me. Tell me that. See that right there. That right there, grown man. That's what you want. Someone who's got your back, who seen you windmilling out here, and she get out there and windmill with you. That's what I'm talking about. You bugging about some other nonsense, man. When you find her, you're gonna know it's her, and you believe her. See, I was talking to somebody about this, and they asked me. I was telling them what she said to me, and they said, "You believe her?" I said, "Yeah, I believe her. Yes, I believe what she said." And I knew she was authentic and sincere, and she meant what she said. That's what I'm talking about. That's why real men don't do 50-50, because he understands that that woman is, if she's home all day and her focal point is you, My wife would be home and she call me, babe, you need me to bring you something? You want me to go out and get you lunch? This is what I'm talking about. You want me to go grab you something? You want to bring something from home? Anything you need, just let me know. She'll text me. Anything you need, let me know. Because she's undergirding me, making sure that I am doing what I need to do. Come home, my shirts are ironed, clothes are put away, house is clean, dinner's ready. I got peace in my home. She has bad days too. And even on my wife's bad days, she still gives me a hug and kiss when I hit the door. Still happy to see me for real, authentically happy to see me. I know she is. And that's what I'm talking about. That's when you want to come home. And some of y'all ain't learned that yet. And you need to learn. And when you tap into a grown man, it'll start inspiring you. I don't know where she got that stuff from. Just like I don't know what I got stuff from. I don't know why I don't know where I got it from just getting going to the gas. I thought about it one day. I said, I don't want my wife out there pumping gas at a gas station. So I said, no, I said, for now on, I'll get gas for your car. And that's what I do. I open the door for my wife. And that's what I do. I take my wife out to dinner, to the movies. And that's what I do. I buy my wife flowers. She asks me for money, I give it to her. Anything she needs. That's what I do. That's what grown men do. Took my wife to Aruba this summer because that's what I do. She likes taking the kids on vacation. She loves doing stuff for the kids. So we take them on vacation and I make sure it happens. Because that's what grown men do. I don't say, well, let's split the bill. I'm going, no, 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 no. You figure out a way to get it done because that's what grown men do. We don't do 50-50. We carry all our weight. Now, if you get sick and down out, yeah, I get it. You want a woman who can step up. And I know my wife, she can step up and hold her own. Something happened to me, I know she can handle it. She can arise to the occasion. Right now, she's building her own business, and I'm supportive of that. Right now, she's doing a part of the business, the family vision. She's learning, she's growing insurance and learning how to do that business because that's what we're going toward. So she's taking on that, and she can do that in her leisure. And see what I'm saying? Since that's what I'm talking about, teamwork. She heard the vision. She said, "Okay, I'll learn it." So she went and passed all the insurance tests, right? Because that's what we're doing. She tapped into the vision. She's carrying her weight of the vision. It is not easy, but she's striving. She's trying. She tapped into it. See, some of you ladies, listen, let me tell you something. There's something that's coming off on you. And let me help you this. Some of you need to get off that shame. This is something that was on me this morning. My wife and I were talking about that. We were talking about shame. Some of you embarrassed because you have children out of wedlock. Some of you embarrassed because you've been divorced. Some of you embarrassed because you doing the things that you did, went through the things you went through. You are a certain age and you don't have nobody. You gave yourself and your body to a man and he used you up and abandoned you. I want to release this on you. Get that shame off you because it stinks. It's in your eye. A real man can see the shame. He can see the guilt that you're carrying. And you don't want that. You don't want to come off as someone who is broken and who is on a rebound. The man, only a predator wants to find a woman who's on a rebound. A solid man wants that woman healed, whole, and restored. All right. So when you on a rebound and you got that guilt and shame all over you, you need to get that off of you. You need to break that off of you. You need to get delivered from that. You need to forgive yourself for all that you've been through. Yeah, you gave that man years of your life. Yeah, you did that. Yeah, all that. But you gotta get healed from that. Now, I'm not trying to say it's gonna go poof, pang, and pow. It's gonna go away. What I'm saying is that you might have to go to therapy. You have to really need to start doing some self-healing. You need to do some prayer, ask God to heal you. Listen, whatever you need to do,
But you're going to have to get that guilt off you. You have to get that shame off you, because what's past is in the past. The Bible says, if any man be in Christ Jesus, he or she is a new creature. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things are new. You got to learn how to let that go, because that's holding you back. And what that's doing to many of you is causing you to reduce yourself to someone who's less than you, and you allowed yourself to fall prey to those things because you feel like you can't do no better, or you have to settle. That's guilt. That's shame. Those are strongholds. You need to break off that. You need to start rising up above that. Yeah, daughter. Yeah, sister. Go to the gym. Lose some weight, because some of y'all put on weight because that's all that guilt and shame and all that stuff that you carry, and all that bitterness and broken. Listen, lose some weight. Get in shape. Start eating better. Taking care of your body. I'm serious. Because that stuff that you projecting, a man can smell it, and so can a predator. And all you keep doing is attracting more and more predators, because you are the damsel in distress. You are the sheep, the fawn in the corner with the broken leg and can't get nowhere, and the wolf is circling you. You got to get off that, get that out of you, get that away from you, so that real man can find you. Because he's looking for you, but he ain't gonna come around you and you broke up, messed up, crying about the last one. No. And because you still cry. No, get healed, daughter. Get out of that, my sister. Get above that. Start getting focused on what you're doing. Rachel was about her father's business when the servant found her. Are you hearing me? So you need to be about your father's business, so that when he finds you working, finds you up, finds you moving. Now, you may not like the way I'm saying or what I'm saying, but I'm telling you what I know. Because there's a lot of men out here who are looking for that one. And the reason why he ain't found her is because y'all letting him play. I'm telling you. So I'm going to let this go. And we're going to do more of these. Because real men don't do 50-50. Real men figure out how to pay the bills and how to hold their family down. You said, Pastor, well, I ain't making that kind of money. Listen, because you're probably not doing right things with your money. If you're not tithing, if you're not giving, you are already behind a ball. If you don't contribute something to some charity, you are already in trouble. Your money will always be low. You always be struggling. I'm telling you, I know this. Y'all think I know this. I know. I'm telling you what I know. So, brothers, listen. Sisters, listen. Real men don't do 50-50. Real men ain't looking for your money. Real men don't care how much money you make. You care about how much money you make because you think that's some sense of accomplishment and sense of value, whatever. But that's not how we think. And that's just how that go. All right, I'm out. You guys, please share this. I know that many of you don't understand what this is and how this looks. I hope I made sense. I hope it made sense to you. And I can't read your comments. I ain't got my glasses on. I can't see the screen that well. But I hope that you guys, if you had any questions, you can ask. I could bring you on. I could put my glasses on if I have any questions. Maybe there's. All right. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I don't know. Any questions? Okay. I can see the screen now. Any questions? You know, while y'all thinking of questions that you might have, This is Q&A. Hey, my wife's on here. Sweetheart, won't you type in there? This is Q&A. So we asking questions now. Listen, so this conference was the first time my wife and I actually came out in ministry and doing things. We were busy, we did so, but this is the first time people have spent this much time with us. And I told my wife, I told her before we enter into this space, we prayed. I asked the Lord to cover her because church people could be so what they are. And I said, and I wanted God to give her, because people don't know her. She popped up one day, and 3 years ago, she's my wife. I've been single for a long time. And so now the question is, who this guy marry? And so, of course, there's going to be some curiosity. There's going to be some examination. There's going to be some inquisitive minds, because there's some people who love me and want the best for me. So they want to know, right? And I just wanted my wife to realize that, or just, although she knew this, but I want to affirm this in her, that you are my choice. You are my choice, and you're beautiful, and you're not as beautiful. You're not as beautiful inside as you are outside as you are inside. You're more beautiful inside. And just be yourself. You don't have to put on airs for anybody. Just be yourself. And stay close to me. Stay close to me. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You're my wife. And I chose you. And I said, but you can hold your own. I know you can. And so I prayed that God would give her what she needed. And she's anointed, and she loves the Lord. She's mature. She's not a novice. She knows the word. She knows church life. She understands how to walk in those spaces. And those of you who met her know what I mean. But if y'all didn't like her, it didn't matter. I like her. All right, so there's no questions. Y'all don't have no questions. All right, listen. I'm I'm done for the night. And listen, I know some of y'all gonna take issue with this, especially you alpha masculine women. Y'all better snap out of it. I mean, if you really are serious about being married. If you're not, then this doesn't apply. This doesn't apply to you. But if you want to be married, you want to be happily married, you want to be successful in marriage, listen to what I'm saying, because I know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm out.